Hello everyone, myself Sabri and I welcome you to our channel Solution Bridge Network and one-stop solution for all your Power Platform tutorials.
Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to understand patch functions in Power Apps. The patch function in Power App is used to create, update or modify records in data source without needing a form. We often rely on forms for updating any information to any of the data sources. But here, patch function will give you additional flexibility in certain ways. First, let's understand the syntax of patch function before getting into the content. Patch, open bracket, the name of the data source followed by the record, which is either if you want to create a new record or update an existing record, and then followed by its column values. Unlike submit form, which works with form controls, patch provides you more flexibility by allowing you to update specific fields, work with multiple records, and even modify multiple data sources at once. Now you might have a question when you should be going with a patch function, then a submit form. Here is the list of instances where you can use a patch function rather than using a submit form. First one is whenever you need to update a single field without affecting the others. For example, changing a user status without modifying other details. Whenever you are not able to use a form control, that is, if you use a separate input controls instead of form, then you can use patch function to save the information. Third one is whenever you want to update multiple record at once. For instance, making all the pending requests as approved. Here, patch function does well. And whenever you have a conditional updates or a dynamic logic, then obviously you can rely on patch function. And the final case here is whenever you want to work with multiple data sources in one action, for instance, saving the same record to a Dataverse and a SharePoint list, the patch function helps you much more. Here, I have given you a simple image which describes the difference between the submit form and a patch function and when to opt for the same. Every function has its own limitations. So we do have some limitations in patch function as well. In patch function, there is no built-in validations. You must manually check for required fields. It's slightly more complex than the submit form because you need to make sure the syntax and the input mechanism is correct. There is no automatic error handling, so you need to use error function to detect the issues whenever and wherever required. With all this information, I'm jumping to my Power Apps interface where I already have a gallery and I have 4 input mechanism. This is employee ID, employee name, department, and date of joining with a save data button. I'm just expanding the screen and I'll show you the individual components. These are not inside a form. These are the individual components. I have a text input 1, which is employee ID capturing, text input 1_1, which is employee name, followed by text input for department and a date picker for date of joining. So this gallery is connected to a data source called employee information, which is a SharePoint list. And this has employee ID, employee name, department, date of joining, and date of exit as the columns. Now, the use case here is we will use this individual input components, and in this button, we will call out a patch function and we will try to patch the information to the data source and display it in the gallery. So let me select the button. And here, if you see, I have a simple command which will reset all the text inputs here whenever I click this button. So this we can use at the later phase. So let me comment line this. And now let's start inputting our patch function. So as said in the syntax, it should be starting with patch, open bracket. Here we should type in first input will be the data source. So here you can opt for your data source, which is employee information, comma, followed by a record which you need to update. Here, either you can patch a new item or you can update an existing item. We need to patch a new item. Hence, I will use defaults of the name of the source, which is employee information. If you want to update a specific line item, then you can say gallery.selected.id or the selected ID's identifier so that that specific information will be updated. Now, the next step here is to pass in the records. So here, followed by open a curly bracket, click enter, and then close the curly bracket and close the patch function. So within the curly bracket, you need to start inputting the information which you want to patch. So first, let's type in the column name, which is employee ID, and employee ID, the input is text input 1. So text input 1 dot text, comma. To the next line, type in employee name, which is text input 1 underscore 1 dot text. So text input 1 underscore 1 dot text. Next would be department. This is text input 1 underscore 2 dot text, comma, finally date of joining. So this is date picker 1 dot selected date. Now we have completed our patch formula, but still you could see a red color line indicating there are some errors. Whenever I hover over any of the error, you can say that if input employee name does not match the expected type text, found error. So there is a problem with the employee name column. Okay, we could see there is a spell mistake of input. So let me correct that. Now you can see there is no error. Now let me run this app and just start typing in the information. So let's call employee number 2 and let's say employee B, department is finance. Let's say the date of joining is today and let's click on save data. Immediately you can see our source got updated. Employee B finance, the date of joining is today and the date of exit is blank, right? But you can see that this input box, what we have entered is not cleared. And let's go back to the save button and just make sure, just uncomment this items and let's say cut this and add it at the last. After the patch function, what it does, it just clears the input. So let me go ahead again. I will just change this. This is employee 3. I call it as employee C, finance, and same. If I click save data, now you can see the employee C is added, wherein your input boxes are also cleared. As we said earlier, patch function does not handle any exceptions or errors. If you want to show a notification after this is completed, what you can do, you can add a notification directly here, or you can use if error and check if there is any error and show the notifications accordingly. So I would say notify record saved. I'll use it as notification dot success and I'll show it for 3 milliseconds. Now we would add another employee. We call the employee name as employee D and goes to IT with the same date. If you click save data, your entry will be added, items will be cleared with a success message that the record saved. So this is an example where you can use the patch function whenever you can't use a forms. There are certain scenarios in our real life use case where we will have some complex data structure where forms might not be used. In this case, patch function comes to the rescue. Now let's understand how we can update the individual line items inside a gallery or any other components using a patch function. So this gallery is connected to the same employee information section. So I would like to edit the first template and I would like to add a button and I will call that button as mark exit. So let me go to the properties and here I will say as mark exit. So whenever someone clicks this button, we want to make sure that the specific employee's date of exit is updated as today. So select that and in the onSelect property, here we can just change it as patch, the name of the source, which is employee information. And here the record, what we need to update. So let's call it as this item, followed by the column which we want to update, open a curly bracket. Now we need to update the date of exit. So here you can select the date of exit and say today function. So this dynamically selects the today's date, close the curly bracket and close the patch function. Let us go through the formula once. I have used the function patch open bracket followed by the name of the source. And here the record what I gonna update is this item. This dynamically changes whenever we are selecting the items inside a gallery. And what I need to do is to patch the date of exit for this selected item as today. So let me run the app and let's say we will try to mark exit for employee A. Whenever you click mark exit, you can see that the date of exit is automatically getting updated. For instance, if you want to patch certain other records in the field, consider you have a column called status is active. So if you want to mark exit and mark that column together inside this button, you can obviously do that. With this, we come to end of this video. Here in this video, we have learned what is a patch function, what is the syntax of patch function, and we have seen two examples of how to write back to a source without using a forms control and how to update a specific record inside a gallery using the patch functions. I will give you the Microsoft official link in the description of this video about the patch function. You can obviously go there and take out a look. We will try to cover a video where we will be explaining how to handle errors and exceptions using the patch function. If you have any questions or clarification, please post it in the comment section and we will be able to revert you as soon as possible.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for our new video alerts.